Hello everyone. I wanted to talk to you today about taking full ownership of your life. So often people want to take full ownership of situations that work out really well for them. You know, like when you get a parking spot right next to the door, or you happen to get the shortest lineup at the checkout, or better yet, you get the checkout that has the really friendly cashier, and all the other people in the lineup are having rosy days, so nobody's complaining or being grumpy or in a bad mood. We love to own that kind of stuff. We love it when we got money left in our account. We love it when, you know, we do nice things, when we give and go, oh, I love owning that I can do that. But we don't love to own the crappy stuff. Here's my example. I got to go to a meeting this morning and do a presentation. I left plenty early. I'm in Calgary right now, so a little more traffic, bigger city. Get downtown, still lots of time, except that there's a train that's blocking one of the major corridors to downtown. A little bit of a problem. Yes. Fortunately, some pedestrian police were walking by and quickly helped to divert and direct traffic. Then I go to the meeting at the wrong location because I'd been to that facility multiple times before, that organization, and since I'd been there last, they had moved. So I get the parking spot thinking I'm great, and then I happen to hoof it 5 blocks in heels. Still ended up early. I still was on time because I'd left enough time. But I have to tell you, I got to that meeting and went, what the heck? I had prepared all of this time so that none of this would happen, and yet I ended up having a morning like that? Really? Now, here's the thing about full ownership. See, it would be really easy to say, oh, that stupid C train that broke down on 7th, it made me late, and then those, you know, I mean, guy could go on, right? Traffic, and those cars didn't let me in, blah, 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 whatever. Whose issue is it to fix then? Well, now it's up to, I don't know, Calgary Transit's got to fix my bad day, apparently, because now it's their fault. Now, what about going to the wrong building? Well, I could get on some high horse about somebody who emailed me, or you could have told me for the least that you moved your office. I mean, your assistant could have called me. I mean, well, now whose problem is it to fix that? I don't know, the assistant, the person who booked, maybe it's in the calendar. I don't even know. It's irrelevant at this point. Here's the thing. When I take full ownership of even the crappy, and those are teeny crappy relative to some days, right? I didn't get a parking ticket today. Yay! Those are small details that seem to have not gone well, even though I prepared. But when I take full ownership of the stuff that I don't want to take ownership of, I'm in the solution seat. My power is I'm in control. I'm in charge of the solution. So I started to look back and say, okay, well, how did I maybe attract this? Like, what went on? Well, I got up really early. You know, I made sure I was really prepared. I didn't sleep really well. So there's probably a part of my brain that's a little bit off that may have attracted these things. Now, when I say attracted, people get real hung up about fault and blame. Forget it. Waste of time. Rabbit hole. Dark. Very dark. Rabbit hole. Don't go down there. I'm not blaming myself. Not about fault or blame. It's about taking ownership. I take full ownership over my results because now I know. First thing I did when I arrived at the meeting, I went into the contacts on my phone and made sure I changed the address for that firm so that I will not handle that again. I also looked at made an agreement with some other people who live here, said, hey, who were also stuck in the traffic jam of the C train, could you text me next time if we're coming to the same meeting and you notice something like that? I made some agreements about it. I can't change the past, and I am certainly not going to spend the rest of my day waiting for someone else to make me feel better about what happened in the past. Massive hook into the land of unhappiness because they're never going to fix it. So I'm taking full ownership of my little interesting adventure that I created this morning, having a laugh about it, taking whatever learning I can so that I don't recreate something I maybe don't want to, making agreements so that I can try and mitigate or avoid some of that stuff in the future, and I'm moving on. That's it. I actually didn't get worked up in any of it, even though I found it quite fascinating how things were starting to unravel out of my organization very quickly. Because I've taken full ownership and I feel so empowered. I feel so empowered to say, okay, well, that might have been my morning. but I'm gonna go have an amazing afternoon because I have another presentation this afternoon, and I'm gonna go make the very best of it. I'm still gonna be early. I'm gonna make sure I get the right parking. I'm gonna confirm where I was and where I'm meeting maybe, so that I can avoid it in the future. So see, when I take full ownership, I am so empowered. It's so juicy. I get that taking full ownership can feel really scary, but here's why it feels scary: because you're associating fault and blame. And our ego, you're like the part of your brain that says, oh, no, I can't do that. That doesn't want you to do that. Because what would it mean? What would it say about you if you're the kind of person who is late for a meeting, or who parks in the wrong spot, or who gets the wrong meeting location? Look, I get that your ego wants to take you down that path. It's normal. It's totally understandable and normal. But I'm saying that's why taking full ownership feels so scary, because you have completely attached ownership with fault and blame. And they are actually, they're not synonymous. They're completely separate entities. When you're willing to take full ownership of the good stuff and the crappy stuff, and you are now in the solution seat, it is one of the most ridiculously empowering experiences that you can get, that will quickly shift you to a more positive state of mind, with greater learning about yourself, about your environment, what's going on around you that you might need to pay attention to, than if you sit and stew for the rest of the day and expect somebody else to take responsibility to make you feel better, because they're not going to. It's a waste of energy. So don't bother. Full ownership can feel like scary stuff, but it's actually the bomb. It's the empowerment bomb that I invite all of you to come and take with me. My program, Human Fundamentals, is running in September 29th, and the early bird pricing ends on July 3rd. So we're going to be covering topics like this, taking full ownership of your life, and how that looks for you. Try it on for size for a weekend and just see. Join me there. Make sure you don't miss out on the early bird pricing. Check it out at alipayne.com, programs and Human Fundamentals. Make sure that you get the pricing, and I will see you there, because I look forward to inviting you to the full ownership, and amazing empowerment game. Bye-bye.